Okay, good evening, folks. For those of you who went out and purchased the 12-volt high performance inflator, the Maddox version from Harbor Freight, that are looking to do some mods, I'm going to simplify it for you. I saw all these mods with all these different compressors, and they talk about taking this off right here, which this I think is a metric thread, and you got to get something to go from metric to NPT, and then they put a T on, and they put the pressure switch on, and now all this stuff is hanging out back here, right? So if you hit something, you break it, you break that pipe. Now you got to replace all that. I didn't want to go that route. So what I did was this pressure relief valve was right here where this is. Okay, this pressure relief valve is 1/4 inch NPT thread that threads into this block. So I took that off, and they had some sort of glue in there. I cleaned all that out just so nothing got up into the hose. And I went and bought this off Amazon right here. All this stuff came from Amazon. So this is 2 inches long, 1/4 inch NPT on both ends. This T is a 1/4 inch female NPT on all three ends. And then I got, I think it's a 1 inch, 1/4 inch NPT to NPT right there, just because I didn't want my switch to be sticking straight out right here and then have to angle the wires down. I thought this looked neater, and it would be less likely to get caught on something. So I used an elbow, and also this pressure switch purchased off Amazon. It is also 1/4 inch NPT. And I know it's upside down, you probably can't see it, but this one is on at 90 psi or below and cuts off at 120. And I did test it, and it does work. It shuts it right off, kicks it back on when it needs to, which brings me to the wiring. When you wire this up, it doesn't matter. There's no positive or negative. You're just running wires. I got 2 black wires. Everything I do electrical is shrink wrap marine grade connectors. So I got the wires running down here about halfway underneath of this thing, and then they come up and go in through the same hole that your cable does. Now when you wire this up, you got a switch with a little wire that's going into the compressor, and off the other side of the switch there's a wire that goes over to the relay. The one between the switch and the relay, snip that in two and connect one of these wires to the switch side and the other to the relay side. That's low voltage. All that does is engage the relay. That way you're not running all that current, that heavy amps that this thing could produce through this wire and through this switch. You don't need no fuse or nothing. That's the safest way to do it. That's why the switch is there. That's why the switch operates the relay. So again, I didn't do it here. I did it here so it wouldn't get caught on nothing, and it's very sleek. If you look at it, I can set it in the bag, I can set it in the hole. It's not going to get caught on anything. You still have plenty of room right here to grab it. You're not going to get caught up on everything. And that 2-inch is just perfect spacing right here between the cylinder head and the switch and everything. Yeah, there is room back there. And if you wanted to really, it might be sticking up. You could get you a 4-way, and you could put a gauge on it. If I got one, I would probably have the 3-way the way it is now, and then the 4th, if I could, coming off of here. Or you could come off of here again with another T and put your gauge down here. Again, that's just looking for trouble. It could get caught on something. This right here is very rigid. You don't have to torque these things down super tight. You might break something, but that is the pressure switch mod for the Maddox Harbor Freight version. Now when it comes to the hose, again, taking this off, changing it, putting a regular hose on it or a fitting. This hose comes down to this type of fitting. It's not your standard air chuck fitting, right? Okay, no big deal. Well, this unit also came with a coil hose, so you can extend it, that fits into these fittings. And it also came with a rubber hose that has the gauge on it right here. And it also had this part right here, was right here on this, and that's a twist connector. You know, twist it on, twist it off, whatever. In order for this to read right, you have to cut your compressor off. Otherwise, it shoots right up to 50 the whole time, and unless you're going higher, and then you got to cut it off. And this gauge is not accurate. No matter what, this gauge is not accurate. And by the way, it was just connected to this hose right here, and this is eighth inch hose right here. Okay, so all you have to do is slide this spring back, or just grab the hose, twist and pull, and it'll pop right off. I don't need this. I don't need a gauge. My tire inflator is going to have a gauge on it, so I don't need to mess with this anymore. So I just put a regular eighth inch hose barb on a regular standard air chuck, and I did the same thing to the yellow hose. I just took this off, cut that hose, and again, this is eighth inch hose barb. If I didn't say it before, same thing with this hose. This is the eighth inch hose barb. This eighth inch hose barb has their kind of connector, and was up in there. All you have to do is pull that spring back, cut that sucker off. I took the rest off just so I could see what size it is. Get you an eighth inch hose barb, and there you go. And no matter what, you know, you still got your standard hose, which this is bigger. And you know, if you want the long hose, well, it connects right there. And if you want the short hose, you know, you just connect it to what it came with right there. And if you want a longer hose, fine. Connect your short hose or your coil hose, and then connect you another standard air hose to it. It's all simple. And I'm sorry for moving the camera around too much, folks. I don't generally do videos, but I've just seen so many videos about these 12-volt air compressors, these mini portable things, and they're doing these mods, and I just wanted to make mine sleek and safe, and I thought this was the best opportunity. And you know, it can be a guess sometimes, you know, what size the fittings are and stuff when you're getting stuff from overseas. But like I said, all this right here, this is all 1/4 inch NPT, every bit of it. The hole here, the relief valve that came out of it, and yeah. So there you go, folks. I hope that helps. Have a good evening.